Hey guys, and welcome back to the Foul Anglers. Today I'm joined by Joe and his mate Ben, and we're going to be fishing the south coast of Cornwall today. There's no Ollie because he's at work, but he might be joining us later on. But fingers crossed we'll be on some pollock and hopefully some wrasse and maybe even a bass, you never know. It is quite sunny, but it's a nice day to be out, especially given the recent rainfall, so let's get straight into it. Today we are fishing a lovely mark. It is early morning on the south coast of Cornwall and we are heading down to a lovely mark to start off the day. Today we will be fishing a few different marks over the course of the day and just sort of chilling out and having some snacks in between. A nice proper chilled out day fishing. So let's get the lures out and let's see where it goes.
We don't need anything or anyone. If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget?
There goes a good run, but I have just lost my lure, and luckily I've got my leader, but on the middle of the leader there you can see there's a little bit, I'll get a close up, there's a little bit of abrasion, so I'm going to retie it just to be on the safe side. Just to get that initial distance. There's a bit of tide running in front of us, see if I can get over the tide. I've got an IMA Hound Sonic in sexy mackerel colour. Let's clip this straight onto the end of my lure clip and we'll ping him out, and I'm praying there's enough water so I won't snag it, fingers crossed.
I said too much. They're not enough. If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you?
So there we go, that was just taken on a crazy sand eel in blue. Little tiny obliging little pollock. Not a big one, but I reckon I had a tap from another one a minute ago, so I reckon there's a few out there. So we'll get this guy released and we'll try and get a few more. You got fish? Yeah boy!
Let's waste time chasing cars around our heads.
We have it. First little pollock. Cornish pollock. Never had them before down here, so something nice and new to have on the book. Beautiful.
There we go. Lovely clear water today. We're shooting back.
If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world? Forget what we're told before we get to.
So we are going to shoot off to a different mark now. We've fished this mark probably for the best part of an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours on the ebb tide. As usual at this mark, we are being absolutely harassed by seals. We've seen a shoal of mackerel pass through, which is quite cool, but I think they were more fleeing from the seals than hungry and trying to feed. So yeah, we're going to shoot off to a different mark that works quite well on the flood tide, which is what we're about to build up to, as we are pretty much on slack low in about half an hour. So by the time we get round to it, we'll be on the flood. That should hopefully provide us with a few more pollock and hopefully some wrasse, as the wrasse fishing there can be quite prolific at times. Same with the pollock fishing. Mackerel, we're definitely in with a good chance. Garfish as well, bass potentially as well, which is all good, and there'll be less seals there for certain, which is obviously a good thing. So I'll bring this one up now. Yeah, so I was just chucking that one around for mackerel, but no luck. So yeah, we'll move across now to a slightly different mark, which will hopefully provide us with some more fish. So after some much needed refreshments, as you've probably seen, we have made it to the new mark. Looks very, very nice. We're going to be chucking those around, so hopefully some wrasse, and maybe some pollock, and maybe even some bass, who knows. So as you will have seen, it has been some pretty tough fishing since this morning. I thought since we had those two pollock, probably within 5 minutes of each other, we would have been on for the day, and I thought it was going to be a good day. But since then, obviously, the sun's got higher and the wind's dropped off, which I do find for sure lure fishing, and I'm sure many of you do as well, that it is really, really difficult sort of fishing when it comes to these conditions. But we decided we're out all day. It's good weather to be out all day, so we are determined to catch some more fish. The guys are just behind me, just down there, trying with some lures, some wrasse. I've just tried and lost 2 lures to rocks. So yeah, I had 1 bite and it took me straight into a rock. I got the lure back and then lost it the cast after, and then brand new crazy sand eel in there and gone, which, you know, it's part of the game when wrasse fishing. You definitely can't get too disheartened by it. You just got to keep fishing. It's just one of those things coming out. If you're fishing the right sort of ground, you will lose lures. I appreciate a lot of you probably do use weedless lures for wrasse. I've run out. So yeah, obviously that does mitigate sort of hooking rocks and weed and getting snagged up. Obviously it doesn't completely mitigate it, but it does sort of lower your chances. I'm gonna tie on a jig head now. Joe's bought some lug with him, some lugworm, so I'm gonna use a jig head and some lugworm, just sort of drop it down the edges and just see what's sort of around the bottom there. Hopefully some wrasse. We've done really well here in previous videos as well. We've had wrasse in videos up to £4, just fishing sales a while ago now, before we even started YouTube, up to £5 here. So fingers crossed, it's a good time of year for wrasse. The kelp's sort of just starting to show since this sunny weather that we have had, so it's sort of kicking things off. We've seen some shoals of sand eel and launce, so let's get down there. So lure-wise for wrasse today, I've just been sort of using little fish, sort of crazy sand eels. I do find these really effective. I do like the natural sort of colours for wrasse. Some people prefer like rhubarb and custard, so like orange and yellow colours. But for me, natural is sort of a winner. I don't find white very effective at all, but each their own. Yeah, these sort of things, obviously these are quite expensive, then there are much cheaper ways you can do it. I'm not saying this specific lure works, just the colour. You can obviously get a cheap jig head, cheap soft plastic body, and use it just the same. The sort of strategy we're using is just bouncing it across the bottom. So imagine this is the bottom, and the wrasse sort of hear the jig head, hit the bottom, and then to them it looks like a worm or a little fish that's injured, and it's just sort of tapping away, and they will be attracted to that, shoot in, and generally, imagine that's their mouth, you'll get them like sort of nabbing, and you'll feel the sort of tug, and then you can wait till they really start pulling back, and they're sort of trying to get away, but they don't realise they're hooked, and then as soon as they're pulling back, bam, strike, and you're on. So that's a general strategy with lures, and I'll run over the sort of strategy for jig heads now. So jig head wise, I've just got a little jig head box. It's just a cheap one, I think off Temu or something, but so it's got all sorts of jig heads in here that do different stuff. So these ones sit on the bottom upright. I think they're called Ned rigs, but sort of for today, just dropping down, you just want decent gauge hook, which for that size is quite thick, which is good for wrasse because they will bend out hooks. Not too heavy, which is good because it sort of gives the lugworm a natural presentation, or limpet, whichever bait you sort of decide to use. And I'll just be dropping that down and just sort of tapping it again, letting it hit the bottom, and they should be on that hopefully straight away. We'll give it a go now, and you guys hopefully will see some fish. Needless to say, today I'm being powered by a Night Searcher. This is their Durabank 10,000. We use this to power up the GoPro, and then also on this side I can just leave my phone on it and it also charges that at the same time. So brilliant to bring when fishing. So unfortunately no luck at that mark. We're going to shoot over to Falmouth now, grab some food, and then chuck some lugworm into the estuary in hopes of some bream. So let's get straight to it. So there we go, we have shot out for some evening fishing, and I've managed a lovely tiny bass. Beautiful. It's a very good sign of what's to come this year. It's still very, very early, about 10th of April. So really, really lovely to see. Look at it, it's just like perfection in miniature, really. Lovely little fish. Just taken on the classic nighttime lure for us. Pink sandy handy with a... Not quite sure what that was. Got pink sandy handy. No? Lovely, brilliant. And there we have it. Got him unhooked and we will get him released. Beautiful.